What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Duran Duran. But before we start, I did want to give a shout out to both Izzy World and Suzanne, a couple people who have commented on multiple Duran Duran reactions I've done so far with information and insight, including some, sort of lyrical insights that I wasn't aware of. For example, Izzy World was talking about when I reacted to Ordinary World that, I was thinking about the song in sort of isolation, and admittedly I was kind of, thinking about it as maybe the end of a relationship and the ghost of someone in that respect, but she actually pointed out that it is in relation to someone who passed away, a friend of the band, I think a friend of Simon Le Bon. And she was saying that Ordinary World was one of 3 songs which apparently all sort of get at the different stages of grief as he and perhaps the other bandmates dealt with their feelings about the passing of this person. So again, shout out to you and to everyone else who's commented on the Duran Duran reaction so far. As I mentioned before, I'm a fan of the group. It had been since I was a kid, but I haven't followed their material and catalog nearly as closely as a band like Depeche Mode, for example. So, lyrically, my analysis will be necessarily, less detailed and perhaps less accurate, but I will still try to, sort of talk about what ideas come across to me through the lines and the sort of motifs and themes that I recognize. But again, please don't hesitate to correct me or to at least give a more detailed and insightful description of what went into the song. Although I think it was Izzy World, someone was saying that Simon Le Bon is sort of notoriously a bit opaque and cryptic about what he means with some of his lyrics and some of his songs, and that he's even a bit disinclined to try to put too much detail or try to describe something too on the nose, perhaps because that would discourage certain interpretations which might otherwise be possible, because that when you define what something is, you are reflexively or implicitly defining what it isn't. So if you put too precise of a label on something, it might lead some people to they're like, oh, I guess I wasn't seeing that correctly, whereas, ultimately, as I've talked about before, lyrics are on some level interpretive, and they go through the subjective prism that is in everyone's brain, and they speak to the experiences and understandings people have up until that point. And even if you understand that a song came from a particular place or source of inspiration when the artist wrote it, it's still sort of a dialogue. Nevertheless, I do welcome all corrections or alternative perspectives in any of the reactions I do, but certainly with bands like Duran Duran that I'm less knowledgeable about. And indeed, this song I have not heard at all. As I mentioned, after I did the first couple reactions, I sort of dug through my collection and tried to see, do I have any, because I have a lot of 80s vinyl, and it was like, do I have more Duran Duran? Well, the only thing I found was this single, which has Union of the Snake. Now, I listened to what is essentially an extended mix. The sort of edited version or the radio cut is on the other side. I wasn't quite aware of that when I started, but by the end I could tell that it had some, instrumental and long interlude sections more typical of a remix or an extended cut. But yeah, someone said, again, I think it was Izzy World, I think she said that Secret October is worth listening to, given that I have the vinyl. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to listen to Secret October with a K. But I do not have any sense of what the lyrics are about. I don't know anything about the music, so this is a fresh listen. So I can't really give any analysis, which is usually what my channel is more about when it comes to these songs, because I don't react to too many songs I haven't heard at all, but occasionally I have done it, so this will be another example. So the reaction is going to be a bit more visceral and just sort of, in the moment interpretive, but I'll still try to do what I can. Here we go. This is Secret October. Oh, it says, there's a version. No, it just says Secret October. And then it gives credit, Duran Duran. What is it? Something Music Limited. I can't see the music publisher. The print is really small, but yeah, here we go. This is Secret October by Duran Duran on this 1983 single on Capitol Records, which is given the name of the other tune, Union of the Snake.
Wines on a birthday party.
Oh.
In a world full of surprising fireworks.
It sounds familiar. I probably heard this when I was younger.
Lies on a stranger's bed. The new day breaks like a speeding train on an old friend. Never expected, but never knocking. Holding your own in a battered car.
there's beds and cocktail bars, and there's a lot going on here. I do love his voice. Is someone harmonizing with him, or are his vocals double? Can't tell.
Free fall on a windy morning shore, nothing but a fading track of footsteps could prove that you'd ever been there.
Like that high kind of pingy melody.
Like the sound of gunshots taken by the wind, lost in distant thunder.
So like the sound of a gunshot taken in the wind, but then lost in the thunder.
Tomorrow be content to watch as the lightning plays along the wires, and you wonder. Sure as awake before the dancing is over. Wise are naked and secret October. Sure as awake before the dancing is over. Wise are naked and secret October.
I like that held line at the end, but also the sonics are very interesting. They're kind of like a little bit of a sneaky sort of vibe, but they're also sort of relentless with that percussion, just a steady. Ooh, yeah. I like this stripped down section. Presumably the outro. Yeah. Ooh. I like that, but again, or not again, I've talked about it in other videos, you know, there's a lot of 80s tunes where it seems like and maybe it was a label decision, but they're like, okay, the song ends, like, we just turn down the master gain, and that's like how we'll end it. It'll just be a fade out, as if you kept playing. Not a huge fan of that style. I feel like, you know, it's just much better when you have an ending, even if it's just something like hitting a cymbal crash and letting it sort of fade out. And of course, you know, lots of bands come up with more creative and striking ways to end a tune, even to bridge it into the next tune. But that was cool. That was like a written ending, and it actually like felt sort of more complete than it would if it was just fading out. But yeah, like I said, there were a lot of lines in there, and you know, a lot of sort of, you know, maybe metaphorical or allegorical imagery. But yeah, it was hard to make sense of what was going on too much. Holy shit! You hear that firework? We're like more than a week after July 4th here in the U.S., so I'm not sure why that would be going off. Nevertheless. Yeah, I couldn't make much of the song like as a whole. Some of the lines sounded interesting. I really did like that song about, like, you know, the sound of a gun taken on the air, but then being overwhelmed by the much louder and more all-encompassing sound of rolling thunder. So yeah, like I said, there's some interesting metaphors or allegories going on, but I don't quite know what to make of the whole. So if some of you out there have a more 360 view of the lyrics on this one, or have read an interview where Simon Le Bon talked about it, however reluctantly, do let me know. Other than that, I really do appreciate you listening and watching. Have a good day, have a good night, and I will see you next time. Peace.